Hi, and welcome to another live broadcast in the Authentic Married Woman. I'm your host, Karen Seitz, and I'm a coach and a mentor for married women to teach them how to find their happiness within and regain their sense of self as a way to solve the issues in their marriage and finally have the marriage or the relationship that they always dreamed of and that they always wanted. And today I wanted to come on and talk about the title of our video today is A Simple Way to Get Your Husband to Hear You. And the myth that I'm going to bust today is that the problem with communication is your husband, that's a myth, that if we're having problems with communication in our marriage, which is one of the biggest problems that we see time and time again with women coming in to work on their issues in their marriage, we have to look at ourselves and see where the breakdown in communication or the breakdown within ourselves is causing communication problems in the marriage. So if it's important to remember that my goal with these videos and what I want you to pay attention to is seeing the things that you have control over to change in yourself that can directly impact your marriage and cause massive change and transformation between you and your husband. That I'm going to go into our three principles to kind of help you understand that more. But these are the three principles that set the framework for what I teach and what we're doing here in this group. And the first principle is that you are responsible for your happiness, that you are at 100% responsible for your happiness, that happiness is an inside job and it can only come from within you. No one can give you your happiness. Your husband can't, your children can't, your family can't, your job can't. That you have to find your happiness within yourself. And what we really mean by that, what happiness actually is, isn't necessarily about feeling happy. It's a deep acceptance of who you are and fully accepting yourself, not wanting to be anybody else other than who you are, and deeply accepting your life, that you don't want anybody else's life than your own, and that's our job to give ourselves that experience. The second principle is that the only person you have any control over to change is yourself, that you can't change your husband, and nothing your husband does can change you, even though we really believe that if our husband would stop doing this or start doing this, then our whole experience would change. It's a trap and it's an illusion because it doesn't work that way. And that's what I was talking about a few moments ago, that the purpose of this of these videos and what I want to empower all of you women to see are the things that you can change within yourself. That until you make those changes and you're willing to look at yourself in the ways that I'm suggesting and sharing with you can't know how that would impact your marriage and how you would start to experience your marriage differently. And that's why we have to start with us, or that's why you have to start with you. The third principle of the framework is that to be an authentic married woman, or just to be an authentic woman, is really about having a relationship with yourself, knowing who you are, knowing what you like and what you don't like, and being willing to show up as yourself in your life, in your marriage, even at the risk of things not working out, even at the risk of not being liked, that you know who you are and you can bring your whole self into your marriage, into your life, into your relationships. And ladies, it changes everything. And I just want to take a minute to say hello to my viewers, and a couple of people are saying hi. So thank you for joining me today. Um, and so let's dive in. So again, we're talking about a simple way to get your husband to hear you. And we're breaking down the myth that the problem with communication is your husband. And ladies, I get it. We can really believe that. He shuts down. He withdraws from the relationship. When I try to talk to him, it's like talking to a wall. And if that's your experience and that's happening again and again and again, I want you to see that you're the common denominator in that you're the constant. So if you can find the courage and find the willingness to look at yourself and see what might be going on in you that's contributing to that breakdown in communication and feeling like your husband's the poor communicator, then you might be able to turn things around in your marriage in a way that you never imagined. And so what I want to talk about that I want you to be able to look at in yourself, and this is really hard to hear and really hard to see in ourselves because we really like to think that we're independent and that we make our own choices and that we're strong, independent women. We can take care of ourselves. We know who we are. We make choices for ourselves. And what I want to help you to see is what's going on unconsciously and what might be happening in your marriage that's showing you that you're not making your own choices and that you maybe don't know who you are. And so what we're going to look at is the ways that you put onto your husband, you're wanting him to make your decisions for you. And I want you to stop and think for a minute about some of these phrases that I'm going to share with you. How many times do you go to your husband and you ask, hey, do you think I should? And then present something that you're struggling to make a choice about in your life. I mean, I've seen myself in my marriage do this with the simplest things. Like, do you think I should go to the store now? Or do you think I should go to the store after we do this? And we're constantly putting that decision or that or decision making process on our husband of what do you think I should do? What should I do here? Or what do you think about going to visit my family next month on this weekend? And again, we're putting that decision on them. Or do you ever say things like, do you want to do dinner at home tonight? Or do you want to go out? And so here are some common things we might ask of, do you want to go out to dinner? Do you want to watch a movie? Do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to have sex? Do you want to have a date night tonight? Do you want to do this or do you want to do that? And a lot of times our response from our husbands, they might not say anything. They just kind of freeze. And then we feel unheard. We feel like they don't really want to spend time with us, that they don't appreciate us, that they don't understand us. But they're really freezing and clamming up and maybe withdrawing, or they don't say the right thing because they're scared of what they say isn't going to be right. Because oftentimes in their response, when we're asking them, do you want to do this or do you want to do that? Or what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? Nothing they say is ever going to be right or what we want, or we don't know what we want. And a lot of this circles back to if we're not happy, there's nothing anyone or anything can do to make us happy. So no matter what your husband says, you're not going to find it right or you're going to try to make it wrong. So another really simple example of this is I can think of several times that I've asked my husband, what do you want for dinner tonight? And he throws out like 5 different options. And I'm kind of like, eh, eh, to all of them because I don't really know what I want. But we're constantly putting it on their plate to make choices. And so let's look at why we want our husbands to make our decisions for us. And again, this can be really hard to hear because we don't want to know that. And this is what's going on unconsciously that we can't see because remember, we often tell ourselves a story that we're independent, we're strong, we make our own decisions. The last thing I want is my husband to make my choices for me. We're very strong in that and don't want that to happen. But what's happening underneath and what's happening unconsciously deep down is that we do want them or someone else to make our choices for us so we don't have to take responsibility for those choices and the consequences of our choices and take ownership of our life and who we are. So I'm going to read through a list that I actually did for myself, and I've seen this time and time again with the women that I work with. And this is a very common universal theme that we've seen in working with women over 15 years in their relationships. And we're going to look at why why we want our husbands to make our decisions for us. And remember, this is what's happening unconsciously. These are the things that we can't see, but that are getting in the way of our marriage, getting in the way of being able to have an intimate and loving and close relationship where there is great communication. These are the things happening below the surface that we can't see. So as I go through these, slow down within yourself and see if you can relate to this and see yourself in this, even if it's just a little bit. Because even if it's there just a little bit, it's there and it's impacting everything. And it's getting in the way of you feeling heard and feeling understood, but really it's what's going on within yourself and how you don't understand yourself and that you're not hearing yourself. So the first one in this list is I don't ever know what I really want to do. So a lot of times when we're using one of those phrases like, do you think I should do this? Or what do you think about this? Or do you want to do X, Y, or Z? We're coming to our partners or coming to our husbands with those questions because deep down we don't ever know what we really want to do. The next one is again this list is why as women we want our husbands to make our decisions for us. So the second one is I'm always doing what I think I should do. So this was a really empowering thing for me to see in my life, although very humbling and not how I wanted to be showing up. But I was constantly doing the things that I thought I should do in my life and constantly being the person I thought that I was expected to be, that others wanted me to be, or that I thought others wanted me to be, or who I needed to be to get what I wanted out of life. And from that, I never really knew me and couldn't choose me and put myself first in a healthy way to get what I wanted out of life and to create the life that I wanted. And so why are we always doing the things that we think we should do? I want to fit in, meaning I want to be liked and perceived as put together, that we don't want to stand out or just be ourselves because we're scared we won't be liked or that others won't understand us. And so we spend so much time trying to fit in and do the things that we think we should do or that are expected of us. And in that, we're constantly looking to others like our husband or friends or family to figure out what we should be doing or fit in so that we're liked and again perceived as we've got it all together, everything is good. And why do we want that? Because I don't want to rock the boat and create conflict. What I have learned over the years is that as women, we are conflict avoiders. We don't want to do anything that's going to rock the boat and create conflict. So we do everything that we can to fit in and again, to be perceived as that we're put together and we have it all together. And so why don't we want to rock the boat and create conflict? Because I don't want to face my own issues. That if we begin to take back control to make our own choices, to know who we are, it's going to rock the boat in our lives because for so long, if we're being honest with ourselves, to some degree or another, we've been pretending and we've been being who we think we need to be to either get validation, to try to get our husbands to hear us, to get the things we think we want out of life. And we kind of create this persona or this facade of who we want to present to the world instead of being who we are and presenting who we really are into the world. So when I start to discover who I am and start to make my own choices and know who I am and know what I want and know what I like and know what I don't like, it's going to rock the boat. It's going to expose the ways that I haven't been showing up as myself in my life and the ways I haven't been making my own decisions and my own choices. And we don't want to face that. We don't want to face our issues because in that we're going to see the mess that we've created. We're going to see how we feel like we're too much work to figure out. And we're going to see the mess that we've created. So we tend to want to hide from that. And so unknowingly, we're often putting our decisions and putting our choices onto our husbands and then getting upset when they don't say the right thing, or they don't choose the right thing, and we get resentful for how our life is turning out. And so that this what we really want to see in this is when we want our husbands to hear us, what we're really looking for is for them to validate who we are, to kind of guide the way, lead the way, so that we don't have to make our own choices, and just be who we are and take responsibility for the consequences of doing so. So we have to learn to make our own choices, to know what we want to do, and to be able to say that this is what I want, not in a selfish way, but in a healthy way where I know my preferences, I know what I like, and I know what I don't like, so that I'm already coming to the table whole and complete in who I am, not looking to my husband or anybody else to validate what I'm thinking, to validate what I want to do, because I'm already solid and grounded in myself and know that for me. And it makes the world of difference. So just checking my notes to see where I'm at in all of this and what I want to add. But a good point is when we put our decisions on our husband or anyone else in our life, what often happens, or what ultimately happens, is we get very resentful, because however that choice we're making turns out and it doesn't go the way we want it to go, we end up feeling resentful of the other person that made that choice, and the results aren't what we want. And so that's why it's so important we slow down enough to know who we are, to know the things that we want, and to be able to present that in our relationships, not in the form of a question. Do you think I should, you know, do you think I should, I'll use the example I used earlier, go to the store now or later? To know I want to go to the store, so I'm going to go to the store, and not ask or put that on our husbands. And that's a really, really simple example. Um, but another one that came up recently in my marriage was my husband and I were planning date night, and until learning to be able to know what I like to do and know what I want to do, I always put this on him. Um, and historically, I've always looked to him to make the plans of what do you want to do for date night, instead of me coming, I'm really feeling like I would love to go grab an appetizer and a drink and maybe go see a movie. That's what I would like to do. And then asking, what would you like? And every time that I do that in my marriage, and I'm coming from a heartfelt, genuine place of knowing who I am, my husband responds and he doesn't shut down. He's right there with me. He's able to communicate either, yeah, that sounds great. I'm happy to do that. Or he might say, that sounds okay, but I was also thinking this. And that's because I'm coming to the table already knowing who I am and what I want. And that makes it so much easier for him to hear me, and to be able to respond and communicate with me, than when I present it as a question of, do you want to go to dinner? Or, do you want to go grab an appetizer and a drink and go to a movie? And what I had to realize was, over the years in my marriage, showing up this way, and asking my husband and constantly putting that decision on him, is that anything he said wasn't going to be right, because I was looking for him to respond in a way that would make me happy, or be the right thing. And it never worked. And so over the years, he learned there was nothing he could do that was going to make me happy, or that I was always going to make him wrong in what he said. And so he had stopped trying, and he withdrew from the relationship, because it's like we're presenting a trap. Like, what do you want to do tonight? But don't say the wrong thing. Say the thing that I want. All the while, unconsciously, we don't even know what we want. And they begin to feel that trap. And that's where they begin to shut down and not communicate. And then we feel unheard or unseen, and like they don't understand us, when really what's going on underneath is that we don't understand ourselves. So the solution in this is to get to know who you are, to get to know what you like and what you don't like, so that you, in a constructive way, in a healthy way, you can bring that into your relationship, not putting the burden on your husband or anybody else to try to tell you who you are, or what you should be wanting, or what you're going to do, that you know who you are and you can make choices for yourself. And this past weekend was so um I was so excited for myself because I really started to see this shine through me and for me in my marriage, where I was saying what I wanted instead of presenting things as a question. So when I used to really struggle on Sunday mornings, my husband and I have Sunday days off together, and I used to really struggle getting up in the morning and putting my whole day on him. What do you want to do today? Instead of knowing what I wanted to do and presenting that, and then being able to communicate with my husband what the day was going to look like. And the Sunday I woke up in the morning and I said, I'm going to go for a walk and then come home and eat breakfast. And, what else were you thinking for the day? I'm interested in, it was a really nice day here in Denver, and I wanted to spend some time down at the pool. And I said, I'd really love to go to the pool today. And he was like, yeah, that sounds great. Have a great morning, have a great walk, and we'll catch up in the afternoon. And it felt so much better than giving that loaded question over to him of, what do you want to do today? And I just saw that happening all day long. We were down at the pool and the sun had got under the clouds and it gotten a little chilly out. And I said, I'm going to go in the hot tub for a little bit. And he was like, oh, that sounds nice. Can I come with you? And I said, yeah, absolutely. And it was so nice to start to see that unfold, and how we communicate so much better when I know myself first. I know what I want, and I'm able to say that again, not in a bossy or bitchy way, but just this is what I'd like, or this is what I'm thinking about doing, and this is why, and knowing myself and bringing that to the table is then I feel heard and understood first by myself. And every time I do that, my husband is right there with me. And the other piece is, when you're with a good man, generally, because all he wants is for you to be happy, then generally when you say, I'd really like to go to dinner tonight and this is where I'd like to go, and you say it as a statement, not a question necessarily, 9 times out of 10, he's happy to go do those things because he just wants you to be happy, and he's happy you've made a decision so that he doesn't have to make that or know what the right thing is, and it makes things so much easier. So what I wanted to come on to talk about today is how your husband isn't the problem in the communication, that you have to look at yourself and see, are you showing up asking him, do you want to do this? What do you think about this? Um, would you like to do this or this? That it puts him in a trap of, he's scared of whatever he's going to say is going to be wrong. And so you have to start to know who you are, and know what you like and know your preferences, and be able to bring those fully into the relationship. And I promise you, when you learn to do that, your husband will hear you. You'll feel like he's right there with you. And you'll feel good in yourself and empowered in yourself because you know who you are and you understand yourself, and you know how to be yourself, and put yourself first, again, in a healthy way. And that's where you begin to feel good about yourself, and you're able to drop your walls and just be who you are in your relationship. It all begins there, and then that's how you accept yourself, and you accept your life, and from there you accept your husband for who he is, not needing him to be any different. That you can enjoy him for who he is because you're enjoying yourself for who you are. And from that place, you get to walk together through life instead of looking to him to validate who you are, or to hear you or understand you, because you understand and validate yourself. And when you're with a good man, you'll experience that from him, but you won't need it because you already have it within yourself. And so then you can just appreciate him and appreciate him for who he is instead of needing him to be a certain way for you to feel heard or for you to feel validated. And that's where it all begins. And it begins with you and getting to know yourself, getting to know what you like, which can often feel very daunting because if you've been living your life doing what you think you should do and being who you think you're supposed to be and doing what you think is expected of you, then we become very lost from ourselves in that. And it's very hard to even know who we are and how to make choices for ourselves and how to know what we want. And I've been there and I'm walking through it and I'm getting to know myself and I'm getting to be able to say what I want and say the things that are true for me and what I like and don't like. And it's very empowering. And it's completely turned my marriage around just by me being able to know who I am and not putting that burden on my husband to know who I am. When I get to know myself, then I get to share myself with him genuinely. And then he can know who I am. But it has to start with you. So if you're listening to this and you feel kind of lost in that of I have been doing everything as I should. I do put a lot on my husband to kind of make decisions and kind of show the way and lead the way and you don't know where to begin, then let's have a conversation. I will get on a phone call, a free breakthrough call, and I'll help you see the real issues in your marriage, not the stories that you tell yourself, and help you come up with a step-by-step plan on how to solve the issues in your marriage, get to know who you are, and be able to bring who you are into your relationship. So if you're interested in talking and interested in getting underneath the stories and getting to the root of what's going on, then private message me and we will set up a free breakthrough call. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.